I didn't even get sworn in yet, and someone wanted me dead for just existing. These are the words of Representative Rashida Talib as she tearfully said this about her first day after her congressional orientation back in 2018. She stood before the House floor to detail her account watching the Capitol insurrection on January 6th, thanking Allah she wasn't there. Good morning, and thank you all for being here. This is my research presentation, Representation Through Wit, How Congresswomen Ilhan Omar and Rashida Talib Construct Muslim Identity on Twitter. I did this research under the direction of Professor Deepa Kumar and in the Gardner Seminar. Okay, so my research question was, how do the first Muslim congresswomen represent themselves on Twitter against Islamophobic tropes? So Representatives Ilhan Omar and Talib represent many firsts. They are part of the iconic group of progressive lawmakers called the Squad. They are the first Muslim women elected to Congress, and unfortunately, Orientalist tropes limit Muslim women to being victims, terrorists, and suggest a denial of agency. Twitter as a social media platform allows users to present themselves, which is a unique opportunity not just for Muslim women, but also for the first Muslim congresswoman. So, mainstream media narratives of Muslim women limit them to being victims or terrorists, which results in a denial of agency. Muslim women are caught between a rock and a hard place of misogyny on one hand in Muslim spaces and Islamophobia on other. Social media platforms like Twitter become useful tools for self-presentation, but at the same time comes with grave consequences. So, as we were thinking about this question, 3 major events sort of happened in the span of a month, from January 6th to February 6th, which is the Capitol insurrection, the Biden inauguration, and the rise in recklessness of Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. So pretty much my methodology was to collect tweets between January 6th and February 6th via Google Sheets. I analyzed, grouped these tweets into themes based on content. The method was sort of inspired by the January 6th terrorist attack incited by former President Donald J. Trump, and we were curious about how does actual real life terrorism, how do the Muslim women who are called terrorists present themselves against actual terrorism, which is a threat to U.S. democracy? My back screen right here is my favorite tweet by Representative Talib, which is her calling Senator Cruz a dumbass. Alright, so the next 3 slides will be examples of me dividing my 3 types of tweets that I found. This one is Rashida Talib saying, pretend they have Arabic-sounding names, which is sort of a witty one-liner that turns the terrorist trope on its head. The next is an emotional appeal that relies on a tender vulnerability. Ilhan Omar is saying, if you're silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it. Republicans are now trying to make people believe Speaker Pelosi summoned the mob. So this emotional appeal is vulnerable and represents a very emotional side. And this final group is a sweeping condemnation of GOP behavior, which is kind of gives off angry vibes, and stuff like that. So Representative Omar says the absence of integrity from these people is terrifying. So the 3 themes I sort of wrapped everything up into and divided them was wit, vulnerability, and I call it brashness, the last sort of theme. So they use humor and clever one-liners to get their point across. Vulnerability, they're not victims, but vulnerable. And their brashness, they vehemently condemn acts that go against their political beliefs. And in conclusion, Representatives Ilhan Omar and Rashida Talib are forging a new Muslim identity through wit, brashness, and vulnerability. They are finding the space between the rock and the hard place, and they're widening it for generations to come. Thank you all for listening, and thank you to the Gardner Program and my research mentor.